Love it. Joelle, you're our cleanup hitter.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much, Mon. And I want to thank you for your honest and authentic self in your statement about your emails and feeling overwhelmed. I laughed out loud because I do that myself and say, I'm sorry, this ended up in my spam. So I was laughing within the first, 10 minutes of the book. But I wanted to ask you, for those of us that missed out on all the opportunities that pageantry have to offer, what are some recommendations, because I think a lot of the skills that you developed through that opportunity are so valuable. And so many of us are still trying to build it or support those we mentor. So having like those practical resources that we can point people in the direction of or use ourselves.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, honestly, anything that you feel like is going to push you outside your comfort zone is always a growth opportunity. I guess also being able to hire or work with people who are professionals, whether it's coaches, like I still to this day have a life coach. I have sometimes a business coach. I think never stop learning is very important. Even just a confidence coach, and Heather Monahan has been so great as well. Being able, because I think what pageantry really gave me, if we take away the stage thing and the competition part, I think the process of it is really what was helpful for me. And when it comes to the process, it was really about, I hired a pageant coach that really taught me how to interview well, how to speak well. She taught me also the power of storytelling, telling stories as opposed to answering questions straightforward, being able to really relate to someone through, experiences, and being able to spark connection with someone when you're talking to them is the way to win a job interview, is the way to win on public speaking. So these skills that are very, I would say, soft and subtle are very important because, again, the best way to learn those is having someone holding you accountable and also teaching you the ways. Obviously, reading about it and watching YouTube videos and even taking courses on them help. But I think when you have someone that kind of practices with you and points out, here's how you're progressing, here's what you're not doing right, or here's what you're doing great, but here's how you can add on to it, is very important. And I besides pageantry, between pageantry and maybe like in my 30s, I kind of stopped hiring coaches because obviously I couldn't afford it at the time. I was starting a business. So I'm like, I'm going to learn everything on my own. But I realized later on that it became more overwhelming for me and discouraging than anything else. So wherever I could find enough to invest in a coach or a course or something that actually helped hold me accountable was always more effective, because it's quick skill learning, but it's also a lot of practice. And if you don't practice, then there's no point of learning, because that's what happens when we read books, right? We read them and then we're on to the next, but we don't take time to practice them with someone that is going to tell us if we're doing it right or wrong. I think the other most important thing too is being able to have a community where there is accountability, a community that is like-minded. For me, obviously pageantry, that's, Scott, there you go. Yeah, Scott, he's the king of all that. When I did pageantry, that's really what it was all about, is the sisterhood, the community that helped us get better. We shared resources with each other. We even shared dresses. When I wasn't competing anymore, I gave my dresses to someone else that needed it. We gave advice on how to be on stage, how to talk to the judges. So the resources, the community, and being able to be motivating to each other is very important. And that's also what I ended up building for myself in business. Is Sway was all about building a community of women who are ambitious, like-minded, driven, entrepreneurial, and be able to help each other tell our stories and learn from each other's stories. So community, and I think skills and practice are very important in pushing yourself forward and getting out of your comfort zone.